see how they actually are combined in this deck and in action right now, as we see Simon here for the very first time here on the stream. You can see him on the screen right now. And Benjamin Martinsen, of course, he is a known fellow here in the Pokemon community, and he's decided that Zoroark GX is going to take him here to day 2. It did, and now he wants to go all the way.
Yeah, Benjamin Martinsen, he has been, although he is a European, he's been playing over in America where he's been studying recently. Simon as well, he's had a few accomplishments here and there. He's starting to knock on the door for these higher events. He, I believe, top 16'd in the Bremen Regional Championships, our last regional, with the Gardevoir GX deck, but now he's changing it up and bringing Buzzwole to the table.
And also, notably maybe about the deck from Benjamin, he also likes Free Bridget, he also likes Golisopod, which is paired here with the Zoroark GX. So it sounds like they have found a very strong deck. We see now very much, I think, 3 deck lists at least that are very, very similar here in the day 2.
Yeah, it's very similar to how we saw in day 1. There was the sort of American secret deck, if you will, that was the metal box archetype. And then there was the European secret deck, which was this Golisopod Zoroark GX variant. And inherently, you may think this is a weighted matchup towards Simon, but there are still some tricks up Benjamin's sleeve. He does carry a Mr. Mime, and he also is playing an Evolutions Mewtwo, which can hit the Buzzwole back for weakness. So perhaps in this matchup, we're going to be seeing the Mewtwo hitting for weakness, and then using the Acerola on that Mewtwo to make it as awkward as possible for Simon.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Looking at it, you might think Buzzwole, yeah, it's fighting type. Zoroark GX, that is weak to fighting. This could be over very soon, but Benjamin is prepared. He knows Buzzwole is a thing today and throughout the whole weekend, so we will see how his tech Pokemon will take him here.
Yeah, exactly. These are the reasons why he put the cards in the list. The Mewtwo itself, not an inherently powerful card, but simply because it has an annoying amount of HP for Buzzwole to deal with, combined with a decent 2-hit KO approach with just a double colorless energy. He does have an option here to win the game.
And there we go. Lift off handshake. Simon for the UK, Benjamin for Norway. Simon starting out with a Type Null and an Ultra Ball.
Yep, indeed. Type Null, not a bad lead for him. He also is going to be discarding a Silvally GX. Obviously, every basic Pokemon can gain freedom of retreat once he's able to evolve up into Silvally. But we are going to see the Ultra Ball here. He's discarding a Professor Sycamore as well, so it feels like he's got a pretty strong hand here. He's going to have a search through, I imagine, as is very common, that they look for Bridget on the very first turn. Even an archetype like this, he's in fact playing Lily as well, which is a potential other supporter option he has on the first turn, where it is most potent.
Yeah, and while players are looking through the deck for the first time, they of course try to take note of the prize cards. We can see them here. 2 Guzmas, 1 Buzzwole, also 1 Regirock here for Simon. The 2 Guzmas don't hurt too much as he's playing 4 copies. And, well, not too much worrying on Benjamin's side either.
Yeah, it's a little annoying that he has 2 Grass Energy in his prize cards because he's trying to stray away from Zoroark whenever possible. So Golisopod bouncing may also be an option for him. He only plays 3 Grass Energy, so he only has 1 available alongside those Puzzles of Time.
Oh, that might be annoying indeed, as we can see Buzzwole getting powered up here with that strong energy and a choice band, followed up by an N, as you can see the prize cards here. So with Benjamin only playing 3 copies of the grass energy and trying to rely on Golisopod, this could actually hurt him later on.
Yeah, it was interesting that Simon opted to go for the N on his first turn. It looks like he was trying to protect the Gladion that was his only supporter remaining in his hand, and going for the refresh of 6 rather than a more aggressive discard of 7. That was the only resource he was choosing to keep from that hand, so maybe he knows something after doing his initial search with that Ultra Ball that he wants to access. It could be something like the Guzma later down the line.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see Gladion seeing play here still in day 2. Maybe also support a card you wouldn't expect immediately in all those deck lists, but we've seen it come in handy on stream before.
So we are going to see what more can he do in this turn. It looks like he's pretty content. He's already got his attachment in, so he will indeed pass it over to Benjamin. Let's see if he's started out with one of his 3 Bridgets. Currently not in his hand. I don't think even an Ultra Ball or Tapu Lele here, so he could be in an awkward spot. It may be a painful Sycamore with one of the puzzles and his other grass energy in there. That could be absolutely horrible. He also has the potential to use an N here, so you can see him debating on this. His facial expression shows that this is not a fantastic spot, and obviously he's not had the foresight to see his own deck, so he doesn't know how impactful discarding this grass energy will be. However, he does hold on to that Puzzle of Time and opt to simply refresh his hand with an N here.
Yeah, he used the N. He has not looked through his deck, so he doesn't know how important this grass energy might get later on. Having said that, however, if that Zora might become knocked out, he still has Puzzle of Time and he could recover it this way.
That's right. So Benjamin, as we've said, he's going to be looking for things like the Mewtwo, trying to get some Wimpods into play. These are his priorities. The Zorua and Zoroark may come into play, just just because he requires the draw engine throughout the game, but they're more than likely going to be staying on the bench in this matchup.
Yeah, 6 cards here, making sure that it is exactly 6 cards, and it is indeed. He finds also a
enhanced hammer.
An enhanced hammer that is important, of course, with the strong energy on the bench here. But he also needs to see what kind of cards he keeps in hand to discard to make use of the Ultra Ball if he wishes to.
So this Zorua may not even retreat. I think he's safest actually leaving it in the active, which is exactly why he passes it over to Simon, who has another strong energy that he can reattach to his Pokemon, and has another Buzzwole as well, which I believe he's just drawn into. I think there's an Ultra Ball in there as well, so he can go a few places. Actually, he's opting to put down the basic fighting energy. That's, of course, all he requires in order to knock out this Zorua, and at this point, he'll be very aware of the Zoroark Golisopod deck, and he's saying, you know what, I only want to be playing my strong energies when it will be important to play them, because at any point, Benjamin could take him back a peg by maybe reusing one of his enhanced hammers with Puzzles of Time, or just having another copy that he has in his deck. And we are going to see the Wonder Tag here for the Guzma, bringing up a new Zorua and getting that Type Null out of the active position, putting down a Potown as well, which could be even more headache for Benjamin, as we see the first prize being taken here, and 30 damage splashed onto the Zorua with a grass energy on it.
A very strong start for Simon and for Benjamin. A heartbreaking turn 1. Didn't find himself the Mr. Mime. Didn't find a Wimpod that he could have evolved. Now finally gets the Wimpod out, but it has to wait at least for 1 turn until it can evolve into Golisopod. Now we go and see the Zoroark GX here. Probably going to evolve the active one. What Benjamin doesn't know, maybe he knows it now because he used the Ultra Ball, that the other types, Grass type energy, are now actually in his prize cards.
And there we see the Potown having an effect, putting 3 more damage counters as he did evolve up into Zoroark GX, and we're going to see a clean 7 fresh cards here from the Professor Sycamore. He's going to still be looking to fight back, maybe with Field Blowers, of which he plays 4 of. He's also drawn into, there is one of them. He's drawn into Double Colorless Energy. Currently, even the Zoroark can still tank hits as long as Simon isn't able to draw into things like more Choice Bands and Strong Energies, so he may still use it as an attacking option this turn, because he has to start dealing with this Buzzwole.
Yeah, and one of the options to scale up damage on Simon's side is the Regirock EX. One of them is borrowed in the prize card, so one more that he could access here. And he's using, first of all, Benjamin is making use of the trade ability. He has to decide on which card to discard. Ugh. Seems like a tough decision.
Yeah, he's eyeing up one of his Bridgets, but it still could be useful next turn because he wants to make sure he can dig out the Mewtwo. So instead, he's going to get rid of the second enhanced hammer, which is great in the matchup, but it's something that he has to get rid of for now. He can't make compromises at this stage. He's going to look at those double puzzles and say, is it worth me trying to get back Zorua for some extra damage here and also have more potential attacking options? That is going to be one of the cards he gets back, and he could be going for the Acerola potentially, or maybe even a Guzma.
Yep, looks like Guzma could be an option for him, or maybe even Professor Sycamore, because doesn't look like he has many options in his hand right now, but it actually is Acerola, so he's trying to deny prizes in the next turn.
So, big decision here. He is going to attach the Choice Band. That's a telltale sign that the double colorless energy is going to come on as well, and we are going to see the Riotous Beating here for 110 damage with that Choice Band added on. But Simon, he is also playing a high count of Acerola, so this may not be hugely impactful depending on what he wants to do in his turn. However,
and he drew also an Espeon EX. That's also an interesting option.
It's a lot of evolution hate in Simon's deck. He's playing the Potowns in very high counts. He's playing Buzzwole, which is so efficient at starting to set up damage all over the opponent's bench. And with the combination of the Strong Energy and the Choice Band, he's going to simply shrug off that amount of damage that he took from the Zoroark and take 2 prizes for himself here.
It adds up so quickly. The Strong Energy, 20, Choice Band, 30 additional, so you are at already 80 plus, multiplied by 2 because of the weakness. And finally, Mr. Mime for Benjamin, who is in a really tough situation here.
Yep, we are going to see Bridget getting played here. Benjamin trying to look for that Mewtwo straight off the bat. As you can see, it's a great counter card that he has available to him in this matchup, and maybe recycling that with puzzles as well could be his key to victory. Doesn't look like, seeing as though he's already used Bridget for his turn, I don't think he'll be able to get the Mewtwo active this turn, unless he has access to some sorts of trades, so he might just have to sacrifice more prizes this turn.
Yeah, no trade ability anymore for Benjamin, so he's stuck in this situation. So Buzzwole will get another hit in, and we can see there's an Ultra Ball in Simon's hand, so maybe even has access to a Guzma and could pick up that Mewtwo right away.
Yeah, if he has an extra energy on top of that, he also needs a retreating option once he does use the Guzma himself. Maybe a Silvally could help him get there, but instead he's pretty content to take one more prize, and where's this spread going to go? Guess what? Nowhere, because Mr. Mime's now in play.
Yep, Mr. Mime is here blocking that bench damage, but Benjamin doesn't find himself access to a double colorless energy, so he's stuck with the Mewtwo in the active spot. Guzma coming up.
Once again, it's a Guzma, so now he can protect the Buzzwole on the bench while still attaching an energy to the active and having more pressure, taking one more prize card. Now Simon down to 2, and you can see exactly how his deck is working. It is so aggressive, this Buzzwole archetype, and we've seen Zoroark has had a fairy tale tournament, really. In day one, it was all about Zoroark decks, and Simon's been able to cash in on all these good matchups. Benjamin, however, he's picked up an Ultra Ball.
Yeah, he picked up an Ultra Ball, but Simon is even down to 1 prize card here, so any Pokemon that is going to be knocked out is going to give Simon the game, so Benjamin has to be really careful here.
This is a big end from him. He has to try and deny Simon, of course, who does have an Oranguru on his own side of the board, so even the end may be less impactful. He still has a large amount of outs to maybe pick up an easy prize anywhere, really, on Benjamin's side of the field. For Benjamin, it's going to be about trying to find Choice Band, double colorless energy, and maybe even evolving out of the Zorua, so it's less of an easy prize. But even with that ×2 weakness, it's always going to be in range. So looks like he does find himself a Zoroark. He also gets the double colorless, so a few things going right for him at this point. He can also field Blower if he wishes to on the Choice Band on the Buzzwole on the bench. There is the double colorless energy. But he is still in a really bad spot as we see the Psychic here. It does 20 base damage plus 20 more for each energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. Thanks to that ×2 weakness, Benjamin's dealing 80 to this Buzzwole currently.
80 damage, and Simon draws into a Regirock EX, just making the math here real quick. Now that Buzzwole looks really threatening. Oranguru here for free. No,
he finds the
Silvally.
So he can freely retreat with the Gyro unit and take the game really, really quickly there.
It's only 40 minutes left on the clock, so this game was over in a heartbeat here. Simon found all the answers, Benjamin nothing at all.
Yeah, this is one of Simon's deck. It's one of the most punishing. If ever you have a slow 1 or 2 turns, this will be the deck that makes it count the most, because not only is it taking early prizes, but it's also setting up damage on the bench. And especially because Benjamin, he's already in a bad spot. He's already got a typing disadvantage, even with his tech Mewtwo. You can just see the pressure mounted up way too quickly, and Simon was able to build a ridiculously powerful board.
Yeah, Buzzwole putting in work, and you even have to mention that Simon was waiting on that Silvally quite a bit, so it would have given maybe more options to work with if he found it earlier. Yeah. So Simon maybe hasn't even shown the full potential of his deck yet.
Yeah, we didn't even see any Acerolas being played for prize denial. He has the Espeon EX that can also be used when that Potown is combined with spread damage onto Zoruas as well, so that can be really potent. He has so many answers to Benjamin's deck, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Benjamin, Mr. Mime was out, I think, in turn number 4, maybe 3 turns too late in his case.
Yeah.
And of course, also, he's looking for that Mewtwo, couple it up with the Choice Band, couple it up with the double colorless energy. He wasn't quite able to set up.
Benjamin can have some comfort in the fact that he got very unlucky in Game 1. He didn't find the Bridget, of which he placed 3 copies of, remember, combined with 3 Tapu Lele and 3 Ultra Ball. I was running through numbers with Tord as well just the other day, and he was saying it's around an 80% margin that you should be getting Bridget in the opening hand. So unlucky in that circumstance. Also, that just nets him the early Mr. Mime. It gets him an early Mewtwo. It gets him early Wimpod. These are the things he was looking for, but he just happened to keep drawing into Zoruas at the start of the game, which is not ideal when you're in this matchup.
Yeah, it's really amazing. In the Team Bridget, the last couple of matches, we've seen 2 games where the Bridget was not actually happening, so this is not really likely, despite the free copies, the Ultra Balls, the Tapu Leles, everything. But this time, Benjamin is looking to start with a Wimpod. He likes to see that, and a Bridget immediately.
This looks way better for Benjamin. Straight away, he leads with his favourite starting Pokemon. We've already mentioned it so many times. This is one of the huge reasons why the Golisopod GX archetypes are so powerful. It's one of these hidden things that you sometimes forget about, but the Wimpout ability is still a really, really nice option for protecting that Wimpod and getting it out of the active position into anything that you would like. And straight away, we see the 2 tech Pokemon that he has for this matchup into play via the Bridget. We see a Grass Energy get attached. He's going to promote the Mewtwo and simply pass it over to Simon here.
Yeah, I hope you got a short glimpse at the prize cards just now, so nothing too worrying on both sides. Simon, however, he has a Buzzwole active, but 2 prized.
Well,
he plays Gladion.
Gladion's one way that he can get it out.
Let's take a look. I was thinking, is he scooping already? I mean, what is going on?
Well, he's found himself a basic Pokemon. The good news for him is that the Mewtwo's damage scales based on how many energy he puts on. So even if there's not many turns of him doing anything, it looks like he still has basic energy. So I think he can get some pressure on, at least with Buzzwole. And now he's found himself another 190 HP basic. So this is one of the great things about playing a deck that's primarily based on big basic Pokemon, is because even when you're drawing not great, you still can be dealing early pressure, as we see here, with a strong energy dealing 50 to the Mewtwo. Again, nothing to the bench thanks to the Mr. Mime, and we'll see what Benjamin can come up with. First of all, an Enhanced Hammer, great tech card for lots of different Garbodor matchups, but also paying dividends here.
Yeah, but look at this decision for Benjamin. He has 2 Puzzle of Times, a Grass Energy, and a Professor Sycamore. So what is he going to do with it? He decides to go with 1 Puzzle of Time and then go with the Sycamore. So 2 Puzzle of Time down already very early in the game.
We are going to see, because he looked at the top 3 cards and saw no double colorless, I think he's saying, you know what, let's hedge my bets and attack the Grass Energy to the Zorua, but instead it's going to go onto the active Mewtwo. And then we are going to see the Professor Sycamore here. So he's saying, you know what, the Psychic for 40 damage isn't going to be useful enough, seeing as though he Enhanced Hammered away the energy from Buzzwole. So he's content just to attach a Grass Energy. Then he's going to go for a trade here, starting to get his Zoroark GX online. Even though they are a liability in terms of giving easy prizes to Simon, they're just so powerful. He needs his deck to function, and trade is the only way that he can get that online.
Yeah, so one of them is online, and Simon is taking a rather slow approach, especially noting that Mr. Mime is live already.
Yeah.
He's just attaching and dealing 30 damage.
Yeah, well, he's holding on to a Professor Sycamore, but I think there's so many energy in his hand that he wants to get as much value out of each energy he can before dumping it all away. We are going to see now a second Grass Energy attached to the Mewtwo and a Choice Band. So we are once again going to see, looks like 140 damage coming down here, and passes back over to Simon.
Yeah, 140 damage. Acerola also in Simon's hand, so that tells us something. Mewtwo heavily damaged, so now Buzzwole is able to pick up that KO, and Benjamin has wasted already 2 Puzzle of Time, so we know it's not easy to recover that Mewtwo.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have a free retreating Pokemon, so it's not an easy way for him to even get the Golisopod attacking next turn. He's attached a double colorless to his Zoroark. Again, an Enhanced Hammer. We may see one more trade this turn. Because he has so many supporters in hand, he may even get rid of the Professor Sycamore. That's exactly what we see. He draws into an Ultra Ball as well, so he now has the option to put down a Tapu Koko as a free retreater and giving him plus 20 damage for the Zoroark's attack. And it looks like, because there's been a couple of Enhanced Hammers already, he feels content that the Zoroark is going to be able to take a few hits from Jet Punch here, even with weakness.
Oh, this is really heartbreaking for Benjamin. If you're on the team Benjamin, I mean, his lone Zoroark here, there's another Potown coming out, is going to will take lots of damage from Simon's Jet Punch. He only needs 1 energy to keep attacking, even though 2 strong energy are already discarded. Now Simon decides to go for the benched one, promote the Mr. Mime, so now he's going after the spread damage.
Yeah, he's saying, you know what, I am hugely focused on getting my Jet Punch affecting the bench. This is one of my main aspects. This is why I play Buzzwole, because it's not just about 30 in the active, it's also trying to target the bench. It's interesting, he may just be scouting out Benjamin. We know he's played a lot of basic Grass Energy already in his turns. He's got rid of quite a few because he manually attached a few to the Mewtwo, so he's saying this might be difficult for Benjamin to move this Mr. Mime here, and he's hoping that he can maybe get a 2-hit KO on this and get it out the way so his Jet Punches become way more effective.
Benjamin is holding on to an Acerola, so that could be an option. He could use that Acerola. Now we see a Golisopod even to even deal more damage. And we know that Simon was going after that Mr. Mime, so he can negate that last turn from Simon. And Benjamin is looking a little better. But however, he's going for the Guzma here and picking up that KO. Yes, stretch your fingers.
He's going to go into Tapu Koko, just making sure, is it better to go into Zoroark GX here or better to go into Golisopod? If he does go into the Zoroark, it gives him an option to trade twice. If he uses trade, then Acerola, then re-evolve and trade again. So that's why you can see him going into the Zoroark, end-proofing him a little bit more now that he's just taken 2 prize cards.
What a strong play there from Benjamin. Now Simon's left with that 1 Buzzwole. He's investing another energy. Figures that there's no way that Benjamin can knock it out next turn. Lily draws himself 2 more cards. But it doesn't look like he has more options.
Yeah, that's all he can do. Just 60 damage thanks to the weakness, and it goes back over to Benjamin. We know he's holding on to the Acerola, which is likely going to be his move here. So he can start attacking with Golisopod. And we are going to see him bench 1 more Wimpod. This is very good for him. He has access to 1 trade, which he opts to get rid of a Zorua. And, of course, sequencing, you need to play the trade first, then go into Acerola, then he can re-evolve his bench Zorua, and we also see attachment of double Colorless Energy to his Golisopod. I think in terms of Benjamin, it makes more sense to go for armor pressing because you're getting a 2-hit KO on Buzzwole regardless. You've already seen choice bands in Simon's list, so you're not concerned about fighting Fury Belts, although he does actually play a split. But so far, in Benjamin's mind at the very least, he thinks he's playing around choice band math, so he needs to deal 200. So armor press could be the best option, as long as he does indeed go for the Acerola here. But it looks like he's content to Mallow, even though he's used trade this turn. So he's hoping that this Zoroark can get some more damage in, and maybe that's all he needs to do, and then set up the Golisopod for a future turn.
I wasn't quite able to make out what he chose. I think it looked like an N at least.
Interesting choices from him, as we just see a Riotous Beating for 120 damage with his full bench. And back over to Simon. Has he drawn any basic Pokemon?
If not, this could be over.
Big spot, yeah. He's going to attach.
Yeah, he's kind of shaking out with
has a Professor
Sycamore.
Sycamore. Looks like he was holding on to a handful of double Colorless Energy. That's where the hesitance was this whole time. He knows that that could be too important for him, but maybe he's been too cautious. Maybe this is a turn too late, because looks like he's just got himself a basic Pokemon. It's a Regirock EX that he has to put into play, because otherwise he could lose next turn. But he's commit all this energy to the Buzzwole, and it's simply going to get Respond hit KO'd here. We are going to see... interesting that he chooses not to flip his GX marker, just go for the Knuckle Impact. He's assuming that it's going to get knocked out regardless, so the adverse effect of Knuckle Impact isn't going to have any effect. We are going to see Benjamin drew into the Zoroark GX, which is what he put there with the Mallow. Then he's going to go for a trade, getting rid of the N, so that's why he did that combination that looked a little bit confusing, and he is going to use the N now.
Yeah, Simon shuffling up his deck here. And Benjamin already presenting his to Simon to be cut. He doesn't want to waste any time here. He wants to win this. He's not here for the draw.
No. One big thing to note as well, Simon had to put down the Regirock EX, otherwise he would simply lose this turn, but it has Grass Weakness, so this could be a really easy way for Benjamin to take his final 2 prizes, and I think he's in a commanding spot here.
Yeah, so now we will see that Buzzwole is going down, so that Golisopod flexing on Buzzwole, going down into the discard pile, and all that's left on Simon's field is that Regirock.
He's drawn into a type null. He would have loved to have benched that last
He can't move it. There's nothing he can do. He can't move it.
Yeah, a basic energy to the type null. He has a Fighting Fury Belt that he can attach. It doesn't matter too much. So yeah, he's saying, I can't do anything. I just have 2 tools. It's going to be game 3 here.
Yeah, Benjamin revealing a Guzma. So no matter what he had done, Benjamin had game in hand. It's a 1-1. Well done by Benjamin. We have a game 3.
My goodness, how different have these first 2 games been? And it was basically down to Bridget. This is why Benjamin plays 3 copies, because as soon as he gets that established, he can get the Mr. Mime that protects him, the Mewtwo that's an aggressive basic Pokemon that he has to deal with, just taking a single prize. And it took 3 hits for Simon to take the knockout on that card, and it gave him turns to start evolving into Golisopods, getting energy all over his board. In game 1, however, he didn't get Bridget, and it was a completely different story. Simon was running through the early Pokemon that that Benjamin had to bench, and now that Simon's going first, he may have a little more opportunity once again to have the pressure back on his side, because it'll take an extra turn for Benjamin to be evolving, and this could be a big factor going into the 3rd game.
Yeah, and also Benjamin had access to the Enhance Hammers, both of them, that threw Simon back 2 turns, and maybe these were the factors why Simon held on to his hand full of energy there and didn't play the Professor Sycamore, hence getting into a very bad situation here where he was out of basic Pokemon eventually. So Simon thinking about all these things that just happened and went wrong in game number 2 and trying to fix them.
Yeah, that's definitely correct. I think in the first game, his deck was running very smoothly. In the second game, he had a really awkward discard pile that he was holding off for so long, it hurt the tempo of his own deck. And that's something that maybe he'll look back on and think, perhaps I had to pull the trigger a little bit earlier and just take the awkward discard. But here we are in game 3. He's going to have a fresh start here to see if he can take it and put himself in a really good position to make the top 8 here.
Yeah, talking about good positions, he has to decide between Espeon and Regirock EX, and one of them has to become active. There's an Ultra Ball and a Professor Sycamore, so he has something to work with, but his ideal starter is, of course, Buzzwole.
Yeah, that's very true. So we are going to go over to Simon. Looks like the judges are making sure the prizes are on camera. We appreciate that, and we are going to see he actually draws into a Type Null, which is a great pickup from him. Now he can Ultra Ball. If it is in his hand, it looks like he can then just start powering up a Buzzwole and then have the Sycamore available to him maybe the next turn. I think that's probably the sequencing we're going to see here, unless he can completely empty his hand, in which case he'll just go for the Sycamore straight off the bat after grabbing a Buzzwole here.
Yeah, Simon doesn't want to waste any time. He knows that the longer the game goes, the less likely he is to win it. Because if Benjamin can set up, he might find the answers. He might use the trade abilities. He might have access to puzzle of time. Simon wants to put on early pressure so that Benjamin can't really react.
And as we look at the prize cam, there is a big issue for Benjamin. The Mewtwo, the tech Pokemon, it is in his prize card, so this could be a huge, huge issue for him going forward in this game. But he has started with the Wimpod. He would have been able to Wimp out and maybe even attack with the Mewtwo very aggressively on his first turn of the game, but after seeing the prize cam, we know that's no longer possible for him. Simon, he does go ahead, grab himself the Buzzwole. He can go Strong Energy, Fighting Fury Belt, and goes for the Professor Sycamore. Again, he had the interesting choice in his opening hand. He chose to Ultra Ball away the basic energy and attach the strong energy, and that does give him perfect numbers to knock out a Wimpod, so potentially that's why he went for this line, but it also does leave him open to enhanced hammers, which we know Benjamin does play.
Yeah, we will see if it comes back to haunt him. We will find out immediately now as Benjamin is going through his options there. Looking at his hand, there's Tapu Lele, so okay, phew. I was thinking for a minute, is this a dry hand? But no, Bridget is happening.
Yep, he is going to have the awkward discovery, the fact that the Mewtwo is in the prize cards. At least he does have the Mr. Mime still available to him, so we're going to see most likely Mr. Mime, then maybe another Wimpod, potentially Tapu Koko, or maybe a Zorua, depending on what he thinks he needs to do with his turn. He has to have something to Wimp out into. That's one of the main reasons he may go for something like Tapu Koko. Potentially we'll just see a Zorua as well as that. So he has a few options here. He has to look for his prize cards and say, oh, really? In Game 3, did I really prize my tech?
Yeah, but the professional that he is, ever the poker face, he's not showing any emotions whatsoever. He says, this is part of the game. I decided to go with one Mewtwo in my deck. This just happens from time to time, and I will deal with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see he does, in the end, go for a second Wimpod as well as Zorua. The trade is still super influential in this matchup, and we saw he actually used it as an attacker as well, because although it does have weakness, Simon still needs a combination of things, some sort of Po-Town activation at times, as well as a combination of strong energies and choice bands to take one-hit knockouts. So it's a little, even though there is just that ×2 weakness, it's not as lopsided as it always looks. So we are going to see Benjamin attach a double Colours Energy to the Tapu Lele, and I wonder if we'll see a Wimp out at all here. Looks like he's going to go into it, so he can go for an energy drive just for 40 damage.
That Tapu Lele very territorial here. Look at this. It's taking center stage and trying to get rid of that Espeon EX. There's an Ultra Ball coming from Simon, so you have some options. He also has an N, also some more strong energy and basic energy. So let's see what he's looking to get here. Maybe even a Silvally to make sure that he can attack. And there we go. Evolves it immediately so that Espeon EX can return.
Yeah, I really like this line from Simon. There has been the Mr. Mime established, so we may start seeing him attaching energy to the Silvally. He actually, again, opts to put the double Colours Energy down, again, leaving himself open to these enhanced hammers. He had the option again. Do I put down the basic fighting or do I put down the double colourless? He's playing with fire, but with the fact that an enhanced hammer can set him back at so many options here. So really having to walk this tightrope against Benjamin's list.
Yeah, I'm sure that he knows exactly how the math works out, especially against the common threats of his deck. So he knows he has, maybe he knows he has to take the risk. He knows exactly that at least 2 enhanced hammers are in there because he saw both of them last game. So he's taking that calculated risk here.
Yeah, definitely a risk being made, and he does draw into more, looks like a Tapu Lele, a bunch more energy as well. He's going to use that gyro unit so he can freely retreat his Espeon EX with usually a 1 retreat cost, and we just simply see the Jet Punch being increased by the strong energy in combination with the Fighting Fury Belt to deal 60 damage to this Tapu Lele. It's going to set it up for the Silvally if he is able to avoid an enhanced hammer in Benjamin's turn.
Yeah, and no, Tapu Lele is a psychic Pokemon with Buzzwole having psychic weakness. However, Energy Drive is not affected by weakness. We're not talking about Mewtwo EX here. So there's no threat on Buzzwole GX being knocked out anytime soon.
Yeah, thank goodness the Tapu Lele states that it's not affected by weakness. The format would be so different. We are going to see an Ultra Ball kicking off from Benjamin here. Looks like he does have one Zoroark GX currently in his hand, and he's going to be discarding an Acerola. It looks like he's also holding onto a Bridget, which he may be getting rid of here. More than likely, because he doesn't have a draw supporter, he could be going for a Tapu Lele just to refresh his hand in the first place, or he could go a little bit more risky and hope that trade can get him into new cards if he wants to go for a Golisopod here.
looking through his options here. By now he knows, of course, what is in his prize cards. Glycipod could be an option here, or even Tapu Lele. He needs access to a certain supporter. Let's see what it is.
I think just because his hand is only Guzma, he needs to start getting some energy on the board and maybe start moving into some better attackers. So likely going for an N just because he has one Puzzle of Time, but he could go more aggressive. And yeah, he's just going to go for the Professor Sycamore instead.
It is the aggression here. He says, well, I discarded a couple of Puzzle of Times last game. It didn't hurt me too much. I won that. So here we go again.
And he does have... Oh, he already had a Glycipod GX.
And a Zoroark GX.
And a Zoroark. So both going to be affected by Potown, which is very important for helping fix maths. He also chooses not to use the Puzzle of Time. Instead, he's just going to go straight for the Professor Sycamore. He actually had the option there for going for a single puzzle, then had the option to trade away the Guzma if he had the top 3 cards were the 2 that he needed. But he didn't go for that line. He's just going to simply discard everything, get a fresh 7, and he gets a big 2 cards. He gets himself the Grass Energy to attack with the Glycipod, and he also gets the Enhanced Hammer here.
Yep, the Enhanced Hammer. Let's see if he is going for that option. First of all, let's trade, give himself access to as many cards and information that he can. A Field Blower coming up. There's the Enhanced Hammer on the Silvally on the bench, and now Glycipod comes up and is going to show us his first impression.
First impression for that 120 damage. Having to pay retreat on the Tapu Lele, not too painful when you already play Puzzles of Time to maybe recycle these double colourless energies. So Simon in an awkward spot here. He can always freely retreat the Silvally if he needs to, but there's not too many other options that he currently has in play. Instead, he's going to go for an Acerola here. He can go into his Espeon and simply replay the Buzzwole, almost resetting Benjamin a turn. Both players having a very high count of Acerola in their list, so it could be a battle of bouncing this game.
Acerola is just a really common threat here in the international championships in London. We've seen it over and over again, denying prize cards and even high counts of Acerolas in the decks. And now even Simon is using the fact that he has 190 hit points on Buzzwole and recovering all the damage.
Yeah, Acerola is one of these interesting cards that in some formats it may seem like a powerhouse like it is right now. It's in a lot of decks as like a 2 or 3 of. But in different formats where there's more aggressive one-hit KO decks, it may not be seen at all. It just so happens that for this tournament, Acerola is one of the big winners. And it looks like on Benjamin's turn, kicking off with the Mallow, it of course has great synergy with Zoroark GX's trade. He's able to look at his deck, choose 2 cards, and then shuffle his deck, putting the 2 that he chose onto the top, and then he can instantly gain access to them via the trade, and that's what we're going to be seeing here. No Acerola though, so potentially he's going to be looking for something like double Colourless Energy to attack with the Glycipod using the Armor Press or some other form of attack here. And indeed, the double Colourless Energy was one of his picks. Also, looks like he's going to be able to evolve into another Glycipod GX here. So his board is looking very, very strong at this point, and I think he's in a position where he could be, you know, not too worried about Buzzwole at this point, and with Enhanced Hammers on his side, he could still deny Simon from using any of his other big threats like the Silvally.
Yeah, it is almost like Mallow and Zoroark GX were printed for each other.
Yeah.
Like, they work just so well together. You have to play them together if you have Zoroark GX. And now Glycipod is able to use its Armor Press, I believe, because the GX counter stayed the same. So Armor Press going down 100 damage on the Buzzwole. And Simon considering using that Guzma here and goes for the Zoroark GX.
Looks like he's trying to get as much damage on the board as possible. Also bear in mind that Glycipod now has 80 damage on it, and using this Jet Punch would then put the Zoroark in range of potentially a Devolve play, which we know Espeon's already sat on his board, so maybe this is something that he's eyeing up this turn.
Yeah, we can see that the damage on both players' sides are kind of adding up here. Many Pokemon are damaged already, and the Zoroark GX now the judges are just making sure that Zoroark is not center stage, but also nicely aligned there, as both players are a little bit wondering what's going on, but this is neatly aligned now. Thanks for that, judges.
Yeah, that's for our benefit, it looks like. There we go. So the Guzma does bring up the Zoroark, so with the strong energy, going to be dealing 100 damage. Again, only dealing it to the active Pokemon because of the Mr. Mime. Benjamin, it looks like he has Guzma, it looks like he also has Acerola available to him, and he has plenty more trades here, so I don't think this is going to be a big deal. He should be able to play around this, just depending on which direction he wants to take his turn here.
Yeah, neither player has picked up any prize cards as of now, but the fireworks are going to happen very soon as the damage is piling up.
Yeah, so Benjamin really just scouting out which is the best supporter to use. He's going to use the trade first of all. Oftentimes it's really important to have as many options available to you as possible. So using the trades early on in the turn gives you, exactly how many cards you see as many cards as possible, essentially. So that's what's most important here. So you can make exactly the best line possible with the cards you have access to. And it looks like he is eyeing up that Acerola, seeing if it is worth it to negate this heavily damaged Zoroark GX, and then he could bring up another attacker. He's thinking maybe I could go for a Tapu Lele attack even, with double Colorless Energy that's in his hand if he's able to access Choice Band. It doesn't look like he can, so he may have to be content with just First Impression or Armor Press here. Once again, here we go. The Zoroark is picked up by the Acerola, wiping off 100, I think, over 100 damage at the very least. And he's going to re-bench that Zorua, and he's going to reattach the double Colorless Energy to that Zorua as well. And he can end his turn on an Armor Press, or he has the option to GX attack, which is indeed what he's just gone for here. And he's picked up a Mewtwo as well, which is a really big pickup for him.
All right, yes, Mewtwo was at the bottom of the prize cards. We know that players usually take the bottom of the prize cards, and there we go. Now Mewtwo is an option. That is, if Benjamin gets some space on his bench.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Potown coming down for Simon at this point. I wonder what else he can do in his turn. He's had a few slower turns. I think looking for double Colorless Energy would be something he may be looking for, but he's still in an awkward spot. We are going to see a Wonder Tag though, so he's going to definitely have a response here.
Wonder Tag for a supporter card. It looks like an N is what he's going for. Maybe getting a hunch that there's something going on in the prize cards here for Benjamin. Either way, Benjamin has lots of cards in hand. There's also a Zoroark GX in hand. And maybe he's trying to deny that the Zoroark evolves immediately on the bench.
Yeah, it's really smart from Simon. He knows that there's powerful cards in Benjamin's hand, and denying the draw engine and hopefully putting Benjamin to 4 cards while he currently doesn't have a means of retreating his Tapu Lele that he forced into the active via his GX attack. These are things that he can try and deny and maybe gain a leg up back in this matchup, because it looks like he's falling a little bit behind just based on these last 2 turns of action here, but he still has plenty more that he can do in his turn. He can gain some more attachments, maybe even attack with the Silvally. That of course gives him more attachments if he's able to find it. And look, he does grab himself 2 double Colorless Energies, so he may be able to bring a comeback here.
And we've seen this before, that 4 cards were just not enough to give him, a player enough options to draw into more cards. As it stands, Tapu Lele is stuck in the active spot, and Simon found a way to accelerate energy again.
So we do see another Silvally coming down as well, so that's going to be nice. It protects his own type null from maybe a Guzma play. We know First Impression does such neat numbers against some of these lower HP Pokemon, and we are just going to see the Turbo Drive for 120 damage, allowing you to attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. So he's setting up multiple Silvallis here, and let's see how kind that N was to Benjamin.
Yeah, Benjamin has an Acerola, and he can use it on the active Tapu Lele, and that way also search for another supporter card, but not in the exact same turn. You will get a First Impression in with the cards that he has, but I don't think he has more energy available to him, so it's not going to be an Armor Press. It's going to be a First Impression. Yeah,
that looks like all he can do. He also has Field Blower available. It would only be accessing the Potown at this point. He may keep it for future trades potentially, but he is always worried about Enning. And interestingly enough, he actually benched the Zorua, so he's assuming that this Golisopod may be knocked out in the following turn, even after using First Impression. However, if he does go for Armor Press here, he can keep himself potentially out of range, and instead he's just going to go for the First Impression. This way he can set up the 2-hit KO on the Silvally, not needing a Choice Band. A big debate there whether or not he could go for it, but bear in mind Simon hasn't flipped over his own GX marker yet, so at any point he could just choose to Rebel GX and guarantee a knockout.
Yeah, and also there is a Choice Band peeking out of his hand, and there we go, attached to the Silvally, and it will now be able to pick up the KO. Guzma flipped over in his hand. He's not playing that, don't worry.
No, that's
just
not
checking
going to be
his discard pile.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any basic energy in his discard pile, so we are just going to see the Turbo Drive here, taking 2 prizes for Simon, evening up the prize trade, and it goes back over to Benjamin, who picks up the Enhanced Hammer, which could be really big, once again on the benched Silvally. If he's able to take a knockout this turn, as well as going for the Enhanced Hammer on the bench, it could really swing this game.
Yeah, and also we saw that Simon was able to draw a Buzzwole out of the prize cards, but Benjamin also, not having any of it, looking for that N. He doesn't like the cards that Simon has in hand. He doesn't like his own either. Potown discarded as well as Choice Band. And here we go, enhance him on the bench to Velai.
This is a really big end to 4 cards. Can Benjamin find himself a Zoroark GX? It is the difference between taking a knockout and really putting Simon behind. I think this is his 3rd double Colorless Energy that he's committed in play and in his discard pile as well, so it would be very difficult for Simon to get a response attack on the Zoroark GX, so it's a huge 4 cards for Benjamin here. He still has a few outs, maybe a double Puzzle of Time, maybe Ultra Ball, but there's also the physical copies of Zoroark GX which he could draw into. Is he able to pull it off here?
4 cards. There are many Zoroark GX left in the second. There's one right in the window.
That is huge. That is huge. He could have also drawn into Grass Energy and simply paid retreat on the Zorua as well. Would have been a little bit more awkward. This is ideal for him. So he's also going to have trade available if he feels like he can discard any cards from his hand. He could even Ultra Ball away the remaining 2 and get a second Zoroark GX. Even though he wouldn't be able to trade this turn, he'd be taking prizes, he'd be drawing a card from the top of his deck, and he'd be end-proofing himself a little bit more. But we are going to see the trade off the bat first. He drew into 1 Puzzle of Time as well as Field Blower. And looks like he's going to be content to go for the Writer's Beating. 2 more prizes for Benjamin Behrens, and he is going to be just 1 GX knockout away from winning this game. And there's a heavily damaged, well, not heavily damaged, a slightly damaged Espeon on Simon's board, and he can't respond with an N here. He can simply go for a Gladion.
No, Simon's hand looked really, really ugly there. There was no basic Pokemon as far as I'm concerned, only energy, strong energy and basic fighting energy. He hoped that Gladion was going to give him access to maybe another Pokemon maybe, but nothing in there, no Ultra Ball, no nothing.
Just the choice band that he can take from there. He's got a bunch of basic energy, not looking great for him.
He's out of
Shine
options for
doesn't
this
do
turn.
much. He can simply just attach a basic energy card to his Silvally potentially and just have the Tapu Lele in the active, hoping that it can stay out of 1-hit KO range, and that's exactly what he's going to have to do as he passes it over here. Benjamin, with that huge N, got himself the Zoroark, and it looks like he's in a commanding position for this final game.
That's something new, and would be deciding a game or match. We haven't seen that one in quite a while. While Benjamin is drawing into a Zoroark GX and of course evolving it right away. His setup looks strong as ever.
So he has his first trade. I believe he already has the Guzma, but he needs an energy in order to retreat. I think he's just drawn into it, so he's going to make the final checks. He has Guzma double Colorless Energy. I think he needs Choice Band as his remaining card to finish the combo in order to knock out the Espeon EX on the bench with a Writer's Beating here. We're going to see the double Colorless Energy does get committed to the Zoroark. He has 1 more trade available to him, and we are going to see that now. Can he win on this turn? He's drawn into... Oh, he's hidden it from us. No. Frustration for Benjamin, not able to win this turn. We are still going to see the Guzma, though. So if he can't win the game, he's going to try and deal with Simon's attacker. I really like this line.
Yeah, and also with all the damage that these Pokemon are taking, also Tapu Koko is always still an option for Benjamin, even if Silvally is hiding on the bench with all the damage that's on it right now. And Simon only draws into an Oranguru, it looks like. I don't think he can do much this turn.
Yeah, it's another blank from Simon. I'm not sure if he can thin his hand size lower, but he actually has a Lily here for a few cards, which could maybe bail him out. He can, of course, have to pay retreat on the Silvally, seeing as though the Gyro unit is only for basic Pokemon. But it looks like he hasn't drawn into... Okay, so there's a strong energy at the very least. So a pay retreat into the Buzzwell that he's drawn into. And 100 damage coming down from the Buzzwell. But again, Benjamin, it's just a Guzma to end the game at this point.
Yeah, does he have access to a Guzma? He would show it immediately if he had access to it. Also, a Puzzle of Time will do it at this point. So here we go, 2 trades.
First trade. Doesn't look like he got it. I think we'll see it slam down as soon as he sees it.
I would agree. So he has an N, he also has a Professor Sycamore, so easy targets for another trade. What is he going to discard?
Second
Zoroark.
trade. Does he grab himself the Guzma? Looks at it once, looks at it twice. That's the second Puzzle of Time, and that is going to be it. We've seen Puzzle of Time so impactful for so many reasons, but here it is able to close out the 3rd game for Benjamin Martinsen.